see you. I see you. And I see you. There's one thing that's more addictive than crack cocaine, heroin, or any other substance put together. It's called connection. When you've really had a connection, just nothing else will satisfy. When you've had somebody that looks inside your eyes and says, I see you. See, so often in life, we're just walking and giving motions and giving glad hand gestures and, hi, how you doing? What do you do? Look, when you ask a bad question, you get what? A bad answer. If you want deeper connection with people, you're going to have to learn to ask better questions. What do you do? Just won't cut it. As a matter of fact, sometimes when people say, well, Bob, what do you say? If you don't say, what do you do? I say, when somebody comes up to me, and says, Bob, what do you do? Well, one of my standard answers is, well, I teach people to not ask, what do you do as an opening line of question. Because it's a bad way to begin a conversation. See, when I'm talking to you, sir, I'm talking to you because I want to know who you are, not what you do. See, the challenge is we have to understand that who you are is more important than what you do. And if it's truly more important, then we need to start asking better questions that help us identify who people are. Not too long ago, I was sitting in a Starbucks, and it was later in the evening, later in the afternoon, early evening, and it had pretty much emptied out. There was nobody there. I mean, literally, it was an empty Starbucks with maybe two people and me, and one whole wall is a bench, and I'm sitting on the bench by myself, and there's about this much space between me and the window. And there's this vast open Starbucks. And a young man who is a gang member came walking in. And out of the entire Starbucks, where do you think he sat? Right here. Not on the left side of me where there was lots of space, but right here. And as I sat there, I thought, why is he sitting here? And he's got his girlfriend with him. And he's sitting there talking to her, talking about just getting out of jail. And he's talking about all this stuff that she did for him while he was in jail. And all this stuff that, didn't happen for him while he was in jail. And I turned to him and I said, what jail? And he looked at me. And he told me the jail. I said, well, what were you in for? His girlfriend looks at him like, are you even going to answer this guy? But he does. He says, for dealing drugs. I said, all right. What's your drug of choice? Now, by this time, his girlfriend is just like losing it. She just can't figure out why he's even having a conversation with this gray-haired guy sitting in a coffee shop. He says, meth. I said, will this be your last round? He looks at me and says, no. I said, how come? He says, because, Bob, I make too much money selling drugs. I'm not ready to walk away from it. Look, before we go past any judgment, let's just make no mistake. There's stuff you're not willing to walk away from yet either. It just might not be meth. It might be TV, food, sex, whatever. It could be something else, but I guarantee there's things that you're not willing to walk away from either. So before we get too judgmental about it. So I asked him, I said, well, what do your mom and dad think about this? Have you ever had somebody answer something that breaks your heart? He said, well, my mom and dad. He goes, last time I saw my mom, she said that she didn't even want me to come to her funeral. I said, well, what did you say? He said, I told her I won't. I said, what about your dad? He says, my dad, the last time I saw him several years ago, said, I don't even have a son anymore. And I said, I'm sorry. And he said, no, it's okay. And I said, no, bull. You can fill in the other word. It's not okay. It's not okay for a father to ever say that to his son. Do not ever accept that. One of the next level pillars I teach is that whatever becomes acceptable becomes inevitable. And if you make it acceptable from one person, you'll make it acceptable from others, good or bad. And I said, it's not okay. And so I flipped a switch for him. I said, can I give you a gift right now that will change your life only forever, as my friend Glenn Morshower says. It will change your life only forever if you will listen and receive it. And he said, what? Now you got to remember, this guy is tatted from here down, just got out of jail. We are not on equal level as far as the way we deal with life. But I said to him this. I said, would you please allow me the privilege of apologizing to you on behalf of your father? Because you may never, ever hear it from him. And he looked at me, and I said, I am so sorry for all the ways that I let you down as a father. I am deeply sorry for everything that I've ever done or said that was unbecoming of a father. I said, would you please just forgive me because I haven't done it right? And I began to cry. And he began to, hide the tears. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one unique privilege in this world, and that is to connect with other human beings. A friend of mine said, where does the air you breathe start and the air I breathe stop? That's how interconnected we really are. And yet so often, we just get tied up in the mumbo jumbo, and we get tied up in just the basic humanity stuff versus just really saying, what's really going on in your life? I mean, when I've sat down with people, it doesn't matter young, old, it doesn't matter what economic background, it doesn't matter what social status, it doesn't matter what race, it doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter. When you literally make a connection with people, they want more. And then they want more. And they want more. And that's the opportunity we have. I have a great opportunity. I get to work with, as a human behaviorist, I get to work with some amazing people. I mean, from everything from drug addicts living under bridges to celebrities to professional athletes. I mean, you name it, across the board, CEOs of major corporations. One of the coolest opportunities I have is to really just get to know people. As a human behaviorist, my background is just really studying on why somebody does something that they say they're never going to do again, and why somebody keeps doing something that they say they're never going to do again. And one of the coolest opportunities I had was to meet Garth Brooks. See, 18 years ago, I had a daughter die in a car accident that I witnessed. And during that time, I had written on the back of a business card, yes, my life is better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Remember the dance by Garth? And I said, Macy, her name was Macy. I said, Macy, you're the one dance I would never wish to miss, no matter how short the song was. She was 3 years old. And I said, I'm going to carry this in my wallet, and I'm going to give it to Garth one day. And lo and behold, a few years later, I happened to be at an event. Somebody says, Garth Brooks, please come to the stage for the day of rehearsal. He wasn't even on the list. I had no idea he was going to be there. There he was. I walked up to him and I said, Garth, as he was coming down from rehearsal, I said, Garth, can I just have a second? He says, sure, what's up? And he's coming down the risers. I'm standing at the bottom. And he says, what's up? I said, I hand him the card. And he looks at the card just like this. And he goes, man, we got to talk. I said, yeah, we do. We spent 45 minutes talking, man to man. We didn't talk about records. We didn't talk about albums. We didn't talk about CD sales. We didn't talk about #1 recording artists. We didn't talk about anything. As a matter of fact, this is what I want to teach you about connecting. Learn to ask great questions. And don't be afraid of the difficult ones. If you want to build deeper relationships, you're going to have to go deeper. One of the coolest things he did was he stood right there and he says, Bob, man, how old was she? I said, 3. He goes, how did she die? I said, car accident. Bob, do you have other kids? I said, yeah, I have 3 other kids. He says, what are their names? Told him the names. What are their ages? Told him their ages. He says, Bob, I've got 3 little girls of my own. He goes, man, I just don't understand. He goes, what did you tell them? Bob, how do you as a father ever get over that? We had a man-to-man experience. In a moment where the room was crowded, people were rehearsing and everything else. One of the best things you will ever learn to do, and not just learn to do it, but learn to master it, is to be 100% present with someone, even when there's a lot of distractions around. When you're here and you're talking to someone, let that be the only thing that matters, because guess what? To someone, it is. To someone, it is the only thing that matters. And I got to close with this, and I'll tell you this. If I were to survey everyone in this room and say, who made you feel the most important this morning while you were here? Would they have said your name? And if not, why not? Now would be a great time to make a change and say, I will determine that everyone in this room is made to know that I care about them as a human being first. Thank you.